All right, I'd like to call the Spring Hope Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Today is Monday, July the 6th, at 7 p.m. First item I have on my agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone, please stand, face the flag, do your head, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. First item I have on my agenda is the minutes of the meeting from June the 1st. Commissioners had a chance to look over them. Do you have any changes?
Tonight, you got me on the agenda to speak there apparently, but the issues that I would bring up to you from what I see is the cleanliness of our town. And I think that's what most people here is wanting to hear. It's not just a matter of picking up the leaves and the trash. I know EnviroLink is charged with doing that. It's a responsibility of the people that live here to look after their property and take care of it. And I wish they would. I think if most people would do that, we wouldn't have hardly be anybody here tonight. Don't want to make an issue with EnviroLink because I think it's a good thing to have a company like EnviroLink doing our work. EnviroLink came on board when I was serving as mayor, and the proposal was made at the time, and it was shown to be very profitable to the town and not having to replace equipment and also not pay benefits so it could be done cheaper and hopefully, and it was, and I don't know why it's not now. EnviroLink may have some issues with the virus right now with people not being able to work, but I don't want to chastise them too bad. The one thing I would say to you as a town, I think it's the town's management, not the town board. The town's management to police the town and make sure that our town is kept clean and give the orders to EnviroLink to take care of it. Now, it's your position as board members and mayor to pass that on to the set your policies and the town manager and his staff to carry it out. Now, when I say his staff, it doesn't mean the town manager do it, but it'd be good if and I was informed tonight that Sandra's doing that, and I appreciate that. The manager does that some. I know I've called him on an occasion or two and asked him to look at stuff with me. He's responded to me, he's looked at it, he's had it fixed, and I appreciate that. Jay's been good to work with me. And I think he will with anybody else if you carry it to him. I think it's your responsibility as well if you see something that needs cleaning up, as well as mine and this group here, to certainly report it to the town manager or to his staff. And I'm very he'll do as he's done with me, follow up on it and get it cleaned up. I don't think we can point the finger at EnviroLink because I'm sure that the workload they've got with other towns in the town of Spring Hope, we want to defer. EnviroLink has to work with us for the fact there's nobody on board to operate that sewer plant if it wasn't for EnviroLink. They have the license to do it and maintain that sewer plant. So that's a good thing in its thing. And so with that, I just think that the ordinances that the town have got need to be enforced. I think that's our staff's responsibility. We went to it from a mayor-council form of government many, many years ago to a manager form of government. Used to the mayor, when Mr. Edwards was the mayor, he pretty much was the manager for the town. And a lot of the people came on board like you said, working. You can't manage. We got a police commissioner. He looked after the police department. We've had a person that looked after maintenance, a cemetery, one thing and another. We went to the manager, the manager's form of government. It's their responsibility to do that. They're paid employees to do that. Not being critical of them, but you can't unless you get out and find out what's going on. And that's our responsibility as well as theirs to make sure it gets reported. There are ordinances that you and others have did and put on the books, people keeping up their property. Junk cars sitting in the yard, trash in yards. Ordinances, you don't operate a business in certain areas. You've got zoning ordinances. When you see vehicles that operate a business, a dump truck with a bobcat in the yard, and that needs to be reported and made sure it doesn't happen. It brings down the value of the homes next to it. And that's what I would encourage you to look at. Not here to badmouth anybody. Working with every one of y'all, I've enjoyed working with Jay. I've served the town many years on the board and as mayor. And I hope you'll continue and the board, the policies and get our management to enforce it. Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening. How are you all doing this evening? My name is Chris Payne and I'm the pastor at Gold Valley Church. And I want to thank you for all of the things that you guys have done in welcoming us here. We've been here for almost a year now. And we have grown to love the community and grown to love all the citizens of it. The last few months we've done in servicing this community. The statement that I had was just a matter of, I have been seeing a lot of trash on the side of the roads and in people's yards, obviously piled up to be taken. And my question was, who takes care of that? Who handles that? I don't know as much as the former mayor, but I do know that towns need to be taken care of. They need to be beautified. They need to look good. And so my question would be, is the company not doing their job? Who are they being paid by? Those kind of questions. But I don't really expect you to answer all of those. I think this is just a situation we need to look at and try to be addressed and try to. There are quite a few mounds of trash that I've seen that have been there for a few months now. Is this a situation going on with COVID, or is it just a situation where the been hired to do this is not taking care of it?
I guess I would let you know, since you had so many questions, if you have a town manager during the week, and we won't do this at a public hearing.
Okay.
You're more than welcome with somebody and talk to him any day.
Okay, great. And then I guess my suggestion would be if we can try to get the town cleaned up. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Barton here. The last person I have on my public forum is Pam Whitley.
I've lived in this town practically all my life. And you know I'm a seasoned senior. And I worked at Spring Hook School, retired for many years of service. Proud of our town. Raised right in town. My children were raised here. My grandchildren were raised here. Grandma, Mom, I have never seen our beautiful little town look the way it looks. And I am embarrassed. I will tell you just how I feel. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed for my grandchildren to come back and say, Grandma, what in the world has happened to our town? When you're laying on the streets, and I know for a fact, for months, you strike a match to it, and you know what's going to happen. Right on the street that I live on, which is Virginia Street. No. I have seen the truck come by and go right by and the car truck, not pick the trash up. On the street, he did not pick my trash up. I stopped him. I said, he put the truck in reverse, backed up, and got my trash. These are things that's a problem. My neighbor this week, I saw the truck go right by, looked at the trash with the car, and rode on. I don't know what it is, but there's a problem, and it needs to be addressed. We try to keep our town looking nice, but with just a few people doing it, it's very hard. And I would like to see our town cleaned up. That's my concern. Where it's the board, where it's the vinyl link, whoever it is, it's their responsibility, I feel, to clean our town up. We pay for it as citizens. I don't know the details, financial and all that, but I know I pay my tax here, and I think our town needs to reap the benefits from it, from wherever. Wherever the communication breakdown is, and care of. When you see commodes sitting beside the street, you see wood beside the street, you see trash. I'm confused. I will go put my bag, put it beside the street. I see the truck come by and dump the trash out of the bag, and then take the truck and pick. I said, why in the world didn't they take the bag and just throw it on the truck? I'm wasting my time and their time of doing this. We don't know what to do. So which way are we going to go? Some says, well, you need to go on the internet. Well, as seniors, the internet, Facebook, all these types of things, a lot of people don't have that. They miss that. They're confused in speaking from the seniors. We don't know what to do. Is it yay or nay? The whole thing is to clean our town up. And I think it's time. Enough is enough. We have put up with this long enough, months and months. And just like they said, people's private yards are not even cut. I mean, I know it's probably the property owners, but whose responsibility is it to contact the property owners that they cut the grass? And they do those things. And I know sometimes there's reasons they can't take care of it. But isn't it the town's responsibility to know who that owns his property and to contact them? And it be taken care of? That grass doesn't get up, that Jay has to go cut the grass? Now you think about those things. Our town just needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be beautified like it was years ago. That's all we're asking, is to clean our town. Whoever's responsible for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I would ask all three of you to stick around for the next few minutes. Not for the next item on the follow-up. After that, please. The next item I have on my agenda is utility billing. I'm turning that over to the manager.
Okay, so again, the memo that you have is from the meeting that we had on the 24th. I did send out an update by email, the information requested about the 49 potential cutoff when we had reviewed this, and just wanted to see what feedback regards to updating policies once cutoff mandates have been lifted by the governor.
You, Commissioner.
Have you all, since the last meeting, have you all sent out letters?
No, so I make some calls and got the information that I had sent out in regards to, of the 49, how many of them had paid, how many of them had not made any payments at all, how many of those had knowledge of the fact that they did still have to pay, that after the mandate has been lifted by the governor, that they would have to owe any past due amounts for their utility bills. So yes, that was a breakdown from the conversation. Reached out to the account holders.
So yes,
We contacted
you
them.
did contact?
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the breakdown of the information that I sent to the board.
Are you looking at any families that are gonna have problems making up these payments in the next 6 months?
We didn't receive, well, when we reached out to the account holders, we couldn't hear from, let me make that correction. So some people are making minimal payments or whatever they can. They did stress that they may have some issues making the payments in the future, especially depending on how we arrange the repayment policy. So yes, that can be an issue with some of the families with the account holders.
Let me ask you a question. Those that you contacted, have they, in the past, have you had problems or just time?
We didn't take track of their past history accounts on those, whether or not we had issues with those accounts.
I think there's something we need to take into consideration before we make a decision. Have they been delinquent before? This is just a period they're going through because of the virus.
So Jay, reading the email, 2 of the accounts, in total, you've not had any contact?
Yeah, we couldn't
Correct.
make any calls to them, yes.
Have you stopped by the house, knocked on the door?
No.
I think the issue, Jay, is the 6 months. I think the question is, if people have been affected financially, and to put us, you know, if they haven't been able to pay it all,
Right.
and you suddenly give them 6 months and their bill is 150% of what it normally is in order to get it paid up in 6 months, the problem is still going to exist on limited income families. So I think therein lies the question. So I think you probably 6-month deal for everybody, and that's final. I don't know that you could go along with that. I think obviously everybody needs to pay whatever water they've used, but I think you probably are going to treat, and I know it's not a good practice, but there's going to have to be some individualism and kind of a case-by-case basis where you can.
So,
And as long as they're making, you know, I know some of the state forms, for example, in the arrears payment, and it may take a year to pay back what is owed, but it is recouped. It just takes longer. And it's a set amount versus a percentage of it.
so whatever we apply to policy-wise for the accounts payable has to be distributed equally or equitably. So, you know, instead of limiting to a 6-month period of paying back, and I understand the example you're saying that if it's a larger amount, they may not be able to make those 6-month payments. You could suggest as another possibility that you could cap the payments at, you know, payments in 6 months, or you can cap it at an arbitrary number, like for example, $25 or $30, and up to it being paid off in the whole. I mean, that's another example. Now, in some of those situations, depending on the amount that they owe, it could extend beyond that 6-month period, but you do potentially limit it to a certain amount so that you feel like they could make that payment as a minimum. So
I think that's
another
what we're
suggestion.
after. However you want to do that, whether you say a percentage of your bill, let's say if you say 15% additional towards arrears, or if you set a dollar amount, whether it be 20, 25, whatever dollars, I think that's probably the better thing to do than to cap it to say 6 months, because I think you're probably going to financially burden unduly some of the folks. And it may take, some folks may be able to get it done, pop back up in 6 months. The one that you've got on the email is making partial payments and minimum payments. Obviously, they'll be able to catch up probably within 6 months. But for somebody that may be not able to work at all, somebody that maybe had the virus and was quarantined, you know, for whatever reason, it may take them a year on a percentage wise. But I think what you just said is probably the better way to do it. As far as
Do you have a suggestion as far as the amount that the board would like to limit that cap at?
Well, just going off a standard of what I mentioned earlier, of saying arrears is say $25.
$25, okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't have an issue with that if nobody else does.
Under that plan, I was trying to make sure, they would try, if somebody could do it in 6 months, that would be our first objective,
Oh,
would be to
absolutely.
get it in 6 months. But then if you ran into a situation, you have some flexibility there, if you get to someone who just can't do that, then you could kind of go to plan B, which would be the $25 plan. Be the way I would, I think is what you meant, Trent.
Yeah, I think when Mark was shaking his head, I think it can't be both ways. You're gonna have to set it as a standard. It's one way.
Whatever policy you implement.
Yeah, instead, there's no
No
exceptions
A,
to the rule.
Right.
It's gonna be a dollar amount each month until it's paid off, or,
But I think the town staff could encourage somebody, I mean, from what Commissioner Griffin is saying, I mean, you could have a one-on-one conversation and try to encourage somebody, but at the end of the day, you have to implement a policy the same for everybody.
Do we have any type of programs for those ones who were hit by COVID that does not have any type of income coming in at this particular time and wouldn't even be able to pay the $25? Do we have something in-house that could potentially help those folks out?
We do not.
Sandra just texted me and she said, and in all actuality, only 2 people haven't paid anything.
Right.
People are paying.
And we don't know what the issue is with those two.
They're just having a hard time, and we're working with them.
So then why don't we set it, keep current and pay $25 a month on the old bill? That's kind of what
There may
what
be
I-
social service programs. I know that on occasion, some of the faith-based organizations have certain programs where they assist with utilities. But again, that's a nonprofit entity separate from the town perspective on assistance that are available.
You think you could gather some of those agencies or nonprofits so that you could, if they came to you, maybe you could recommend or speak to one of those?
We do sometimes direct them, but if we can have something written up or formally placed.
Or just a list to
Right.
pick from. I mean, it's small.
Anybody else? I'm gonna move on to the next item then. Next item on our agenda is the county attorney's report.
Nothing to report to the board tonight.
Next item on my agenda is environment.
How are you all doing tonight? Monthly activity report for June 2020. I have no significant activities to report at this time. For work order summary, I have a total of 79 work orders that were completed in June 2020 with the following summary below. For water sold upon meter readings, the current month was 2.61 million gallons. The well production for this current month was 2.64 million gallons. And the wastewater effluent was 6.43 million gallons with a total of 8.1 inches of rainfall. And that is all I have. So, any questions? And then I know Mr. Dave wanted to give an update on leaf and limb and mowing.
Good evening, commissioners, mayor, residents. My name is Dave Strum. I work for the Environment and just wanted to give a public works update. Fairly recently, we had a change in staff, which we feel is appropriate. The new staff largely came from large municipalities, which created a need for training. Just to be honest with you, I think this has taken a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we've conducted it. And training will always be ongoing for us. We will always conduct training with our staff on safety issues and equipment. Obviously, COVID has created challenges, I believe, for all of us nowadays, as well as us. But we've conducted the training. while we were doing this review and training, one of the big things that we realized was previous manager adjusted the schedule to a 3-week rotation. So once we found that out, we immediately changed it back to a 2-week rotation, which should really improve the service for the town of Spring Hope. We've also been working with the town. We've recently established a monthly meeting with the town to discuss any issues or initiatives. As part of this meeting, we established a grid system for the leaf and limb system, and I believe we implemented that system. So all the residents should know exactly what day the truck will be in their area. As soon as that is completed, one of our managers will review that area to make sure the service was provided to the residents and no debris was left for the residents. So something new we've established by meeting with the town on a monthly schedule. We really appreciate the residents speaking out tonight. I really appreciate your concerns. And as the mayor said, or previous mayor said, Spring Hope is one of the first towns that we were involved with, and we are committed to the town. We want to see the town beautified, and we want to address any needs that the town identifies to us. And so, just want to say I appreciate your concerns, and it did fall on deaf ears. We appreciate your concerns, and we will resolve them. Really, all the comments I have.
I've got a question, a couple of them. Ever since I've been on the board, the majority of the complaints that I get from the citizens here in town is environmental. And it doesn't appear to be that we are alone in that. Seems like all the other towns have complaints and they're similar. I have heard several different people come here from EnviroLink to give us an excuse of why they don't do what we're paying them to do. I understand COVID has been an issue. I understand training can be an issue. But do we still pay you the full amount when you don't provide the full service? That would be my question to start with. Do you prorate us when you don't pick up leaves and pick up trash?
Short answer is no, we do not. It's a flat fee, and I would say, please, and I'm happy to give you my personal email. Let us know about the issues, and we will address them. If there's something specific that you think we're not doing, or you see we're not doing, we would appreciate that feedback, and we will get it correct.
And I think we've done that just about every month. We've had a meeting where you guys have been here and we've had to discuss this. And it seems to get better for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then it drops right back, and you'll come in and say, well, we just had a change of administration. And I understand that. But we're paying you guys. And personally, if I was contracting you, I'd start deducting money when you did not fulfill your contract.
Understood.
I guess I'm just wondering, is it some things that y'all not?
You'll let the commissioners talk to EnviroLink first. I'll get back to you.
I want to make a comment about the schedule that was sent to, I think, everybody here. And I commend everyone who made it up, whether it be EnviroLink or the town. You've got a schedule now that I haven't seen before as to when you put your yard waste out and when you pick it up. And I hope that will alleviate some. A suggestion I have along with it, the town does a good job with phone trees. You put out messages. If you could put out a message and remind people that this is the first or third Tuesday, have it out tonight so we pick it up, and it won't leave the yards and the town looking so dirty the next couple of days. Just a slight reminder with the phone tree when it's going to happen. It'd be very helpful. Thank you, Mayor.
I guess my concern is with EnviroLink is we do walk the streets. We walk the streets every night. my whole team walk the streets. So we see debris in the ditches and we can smell the sewer and all of that kind of stuff. It's just kind of alarming to me that where you guys be at, where the environmental trucks are parked at, I guess I like to call it the public works station. It's just kind of puzzling to me how you guys are at that public works station and y'all can't smell the sewer and y'all right across the street, but when my team walk down Ash Street, they can smell the sewer very, very well. So I don't understand why you guys can't smell that or see the debris on Ash Street when y'all are literally right across the street. To me, it's just more of neglecting or just not looking, but you can smell.
Well, I'll run out, after the meeting, I'll run down there, but if you do catch an odor of sewer, you would call town hall. We will send somebody out to investigate what's causing.
And to comment on that, Ash Street right there across from the shop, because I spend most of my day down near that shop. And Ash Street, every time there's any type of trickle or rain, there's a lot of debris that are caught up in those pipes later down the road that we are still investigating how to get them out. It has a very bad flow to where it does not flow in the storm drains properly, which we are working on. But that standing water causes a kind of an eerie smell to it where I'm not going to argue with you, but I don't think you're smelling sewer. It's more of like an eerie water smell.
What it is a stench. So if my people smell stench, it's just a stench, no matter what it is, because we walk in. So, but it's a stench, and we don't want to smell it.
No, I'm trying to give the commissioners, before I get to my question, give them every opportunity.
So I guess it's my turn. You going, Drew?
You go ahead.
I've been extremely rough, especially on Jared. I sat in the monthly meeting that Jay and Sandra had. I surprised them all. I've had my input and my comments. I won't go through all that again, so he knows my feelings on it. And I honestly think the problem runs right up the chain to you, Mike. I'm going to be perfectly, I'm not going to pull any punches. And I know the plan is to come to this meeting and stand up and take your lumps and deliver the lip service. It's happened every year, multiple times a year. I think what the town is trying to say is we're not going to accept the lip service anymore. The last board meeting, we received a very heartfelt apology about how the town looked. And I told them that was the latest in a long line of apologies. And one of the main concerns at that point was the care for the cemeteries and the very poor manner in which they were maintained. They were then tasked to leave, not because they had to be thrown out, but as the paper reported, but because it was still daylight and they could go over and view and see exactly what we were talking about, and that the work was not finished. And in fact, at that time, I asked the question, were you finished? There was a pause, they couldn't answer. Obviously, they were not. The next day, an email went out stating that there was a funeral being held that weekend. When would they finish? The response was, we have commitments in other towns. We can't come back. So we had to hire an outside contractor to come in and do your work. And I can fully appreciate, and Mr. Bass, former Mayor Clyde, it was probably a good decision at the time. But you know, you get comfortable in a pair of pants. And when they start to get holes in it, you start to look past the holes and maybe you'll put a patch on it and live with it. We're tired of wearing the little pants. It's customer service, plain and simple. The town people are tired of hearing it. Did we ride to town? Yes, we did. We had a leaf and limb that we're finished. Jay goes around at 5:15 and rides and finds at least 20 spots. But then Jared and Matt had to go out and, on their own, pick up at least three truckloads that night to try to get it done. So yes, you have a problem training your people. You have a problem getting people. So, I don't know what your internal problem is, and you may have been great at one time, but your track record thus recently is poor, poor. I get the phone calls at home. I hear from it at home. And I'm embarrassed. I'm a resident of this town, lived here all my life, and I am embarrassed. Miss Whitley is exactly right. This used to be a beautiful town, but we also took care of ourselves. And I'm sure when y'all were the new pants, y'all put on the good show. It's time to get them pressed up, and let's get it back right, and don't do it like Commissioner Tucker said for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. We don't want to have this conversation anymore. Right now, you guys are in a prime position because you kind of got monopoly on the thing, and supposedly there's nobody else that can do this, and you've got the certifications for the wastewater treatment and all that good stuff. Well, we need you to live up to the reputation and the words that Mayor Best has said that you guys are, because you're not doing it. Plain and simple. Have you done it in the past? Yes, I've sang praises. When you got better, I was the guy that fell right in and sang praises, saying great job. Only to eat my words, because a few months later I had to come back and bust somebody because it got looking like this again. So, take your lumps, save your apology, get it right.
I don't have anything to add. I think it's been said from town people and other commissioners exactly how we feel, and I think I don't have anything else to add tonight, Mike. We've talked about this a lot of times, you and I.
Let everybody go on it, maybe, because I'm hearing things, I maybe got one idea, if you'll, that after you guys are done.
Please do not throw these guys under the bus. The guys are in the town. I'm telling you, it is not their fault.
I hear you.
When I see two people to cut 2 cemeteries along with 3 other towns, or 2 other towns, you can't get it done. When they got to fix a knuckle boom truck every other week, they can't get their job done. When you got somebody that's supposed to be assigned to this town, and he gets called away to other towns because you're short of staff, and he can't manage his own town, it's not his fault. That's why I said I think it runs all the way up to you. Now, I told Jared in the meeting it's on him. But now that you're here, guess what? You're further up the food chain. You get it now. All right, I'm done. But yeah, we're glad to hear your suggestion after the meeting.
All right, I know we should be caught up with leaf and limb. I do appreciate the guys that came out and worked. I saw them get to my neighborhood at 8:30 on Father's Day, working on a Sunday. But the other thing, when I came through town just a few days ago, y'all were cutting downtown, and I followed the truck rolling out of town at 1:30 in the afternoon. You know, maybe they're going somewhere else to cut, maybe it's a different day schedule. There were spots in Meek Cemetery that were 18 inches high. I spoke with Anthony, your wastewater treatment guy, and the grass at the wastewater treatment plant, he said, is almost up to his waist. And he's definitely afraid of snakes, and he's scared to walk on the town's property out there and check our equipment because he can't see his feet because the grass is so thick. The last time I went out with y'all to the, was it the pumping station over on Old Spring Oak Road? The kudzu and weeds on the left side of the property as you're driving on was close to 10 feet high and over top of the chain link fence and the razor wire on top of it. There was no evidence of a fence on that side of the property. Around the water towers, the grass is high. This is all on your list. And yeah, I can see when it's rained and rained and rained. But here, and you know, 3/4 of the way up to the ceiling, you know, you need to circle back some more places. I mean, had my lawnmower in the trailer. I know Jay cut the town grass last year, the year before. It was so high, I was going to come down and cut the grass around the depot of the town hall. I mean, there's more than just cemetery. I mean, it's got to be constant ongoing. I mean, it is just, if it gets away from you, like the pumping station, you know, there's no way a lawnmower can attack that. So, I mean, it's not just the roadsides, the other town property. Wastewater treatment plant, I know was out of sight, everybody's sight except for yours, maybe the police chief of mine, a couple other people will ride back that way. I just, you know, we gotta keep going, it can't be, and the cemeteries and the downtown have got to be a constant. You know, we paid somebody to cut the cemeteries, I expect y'all to suck it up. And I don't wanna hear, I don't expect to hear a thing about it, whether it's right or wrong, whether we were entitled to do it and hold the pay. I'm a businessman, I'm a contractor. If I fail on a contract, my customer has to pay somebody else to do my job, suck it up. It's life. We live and we learn. Now, I know there's a leaf and limb season, there's a bag season, a lot of people don't understand. I've been under the same problem Pan has. I got ahead, I got off schedule, I put 12 bags of leaves out, I bagged all mine to make it easy on your guys 2 or 3 years ago. They pulled up with the truck, dumped all the leaves in it, threw the bags in my yard, they blew all over the neighborhood, I walked around and picked them, I found all 12 of them. They were in Jay's yard, my yard, down the street, Greg Bartholomew's yard. It's difficult, sometimes you take your employees by the hand. You teach all you want. Matthew, we hear nothing but positive stuff. I mean, he's definitely the biggest asset of EnviroLink stuff of anybody we've had in a while. I'd like to see you give him more help wherever he needs it or asks for it. Watching, we're all watching.
2 things. One, if you'll send me the invoice from the guy that you had to hire to go out there on Father's Day, we'll pay.
Father's Day was your guys. I saw him. I couldn't believe the truck. I couldn't believe the knuckle truck ran down my street.
Oh, okay, I thought
I think it was you two.
Me and JR.
You and JR.
I did it too.
And I thought it was crazy at 8 o'clock. Somebody else saw him almost at 9:30. And that was after everything was picked up. And I went, when I got a call from Jay, and I rode to town, and I found 2 or 3 little piles that I could expect to be missed if the size of the piles and I don't know how many truckloads you hauled off after the last time we chewed on your behind. I know y'all hauled 2 or 3 trucks off the Trinity Street, Circle Street, Circle Drive, there was probably a load off each one of those streets.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was told that Stan circled the truck, they drove right by, she had a pile between 2 bushes, they missed it, she caught them. They came back. I can understand, getting into the day, getting tired, you miss a little spot. But somebody catches you, you know, I appreciate the drivers coming back. And that one pass y'all made, that one great shot, you know, I hope you don't get that far behind so this happens again.
And the other suggestion I'd like to make is we set up the monthly meetings with Jay and Michelle and Sandra. If you guys wanted to appoint a subcommittee, 1 or 2 of the commissioners and have them attend that meeting, that way if there's issues like this that we can kind of get those things identified earlier and get on them sooner. I would appreciate it.
Actually, my suggestion was, I made with him at the office, is that we take you a laminated map and give you wax crayon, and your guys running leaf and limbs can mark down the streets they did. And so somebody calls, or we go back and check if their spot's missed. You know, I understand if you guys are here only a couple days a month, they don't know all the streets, you turn around and miss a street, but like it was, but that's what it takes. We'll work with you, or
Appreciate it.
Or will it? We will tell you how to do your job.
Well, that's what I want to figure, possibly foster that communication, that way, you know, if there's, you know, if we miss something, if there's something we're not doing, if there's a concern, you know, we can identify it sooner, and get it addressed a lot more rapidly. I think the monthly meetings, if we could have, you know, one or two of the commissioners attend that would be, I think that would help communications.
I think all of my commissioners are working.
Okay.
Most of us are working.
I don't want to burden them.
I mean, you know, we didn't have all the meetings, Mike, that we wanna have, but your company is in the maintenance business, and so we contracted with you so that you and your people can do their job of riding around and looking with their own two eyes and making sure the people that are doing the work are doing the job. We ought not to have to point it out to you. It is your job to see it and fix it. And this young man's doing a good job, but you gotta give him some support. And I don't think we ought to have to lead you around town and show you grass that's waist high or piles of trash in town.
Does all your crews report to Matthew, or do they just come and do their job and leave?
So, all of our crews report to Jared. Matthew's role is to be kind of the resident here. His role is to make sure just what you're talking about, to drive town, identify, did they get this, did they get that, did they not get this, and then make sure that that gets reported up the chain so that the crews can come back out and get whatever they did not get.
I'm just suggesting before they leave, or when they get to town, do they check in with Matthew and say, hey, I got spots in Virginia Street needs some extra attention, Walnut Street?
So short answer is yes, but Matthew's saying they forgot to call him.
Kind of a miscommunication thing whenever they would leave afterwards.
I guess I'm a little confused. So they report up to Jared,
So Matthew reports to Jared as well as the crews.
but Matthew does the riding around to look at the stuff, right?
Kind of like a quality control.
I guess the question might be, if they call and say they're finished at the cemetery, whose job is it to check and make sure they finished the
That
cemetery?
would be Matt's job.
That's my job.
Do they call Jared and tell him they're finished, or do they call Matt and tell him?
They're supposed to call me.
All right, I think that's what confusion might be.
Yeah, okay, so I understand they report up to Jared, but what do you do? I mean, I understand everybody report to you, but what do you physically do here in Spring Hope? Because it appears Matthew is doing the riding around, checking everything and all of that kind of stuff. So what do? Are you out cutting grass, making sure everybody, are you doing, as from what I'm hearing, you're a supervisor, are you all supervising?
Right, as a matter of fact, the last, route that they, the last round they did, you know, I drove up and checked on sites, you know, a couple times through the week. So I put some eyes on it myself.
So Matt, between Matt and Jared, both of them, it's really Matt's the primary guy that's riding around. Jared's checking up to make sure Matt's doing what Matt needs to do and the crew as well.
I mean, that's a concern, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, there are things that are done, so when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, so you're gonna be the one who's gonna be checking up on everybody, so that may be something that you need to handle as far as from roads, because it looks like you got two people trying to do similar roads, and we don't need two people doing similar supervising, we need people out here doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's where allocation needs to be put. Matt's been doing it for a while, so he don't need somebody policing behind him. Let him police, everybody else do what they gonna do, 'cause this stuff is not being done.
I take it Jeff has more than Spring Hatch, right?
Yeah.
Matthew has Spring Hatch.
Spring
But he's covering multiple areas, not writing just Spring Hatch.
Correct.
Anybody else have any comments for environment this evening?
Hey, Brady, can I ask a quick question?
Quick.
Hi, so I was told that the reason why the limbs that we have had in our front, on the front of the house next to me, since, there's a few little potting pots that are sitting on the corner, and that's the reason why the rest that was lying there was not touched. Can you explain that to me? I have since removed them. I didn't realize that was an issue that would keep you from picking up the rest that are there. And in fact, it's been there so long that the guy who cuts our grass can't cut the grass because these limbs and branches and stuff that we have been doing for cleaning our yard. Can you explain that to me?
What's your address?
It's at 504 and 502 North Pine Street.
I'm sorry.
502 and 504 North Pine.
I can look into it. I actually didn't go to look at that more lately. Did you get a door tag left to you?
No. I had someone inform me the reason why they hadn't been picked up was because I had a few potting pots that were on the corner, not on top of anything, sitting on the corner, that apparently prevented it from being picked up. From where I had planted some plants. So it's like going, okay, if that's the reason, I don't see how that prevented all of that from being picked up. You could have left the pots there, I realize that. I would, you know, but I have since picked them up and put them in the trash can, which, you know, that. It's just been sitting there for many months.
Yeah, I got a question on Gum Avenue, the end of Gum Avenue runs into Wilton Street, which runs right back to her street. And Wilton Street is not a high traffic street, but it looks bad. And it runs right to her street instead of running right to Miss Liberty. And it needs to be taken care of. Because right over here by the tower.
What's the street?
Wilton Street. It runs Gum Avenue, then Wilton Street, and it runs right back to your street. Exactly.
You're talking about the corner where the bushes are?
Yeah, all them bushes, yeah, look bad
Put
back
a
there.
work order up to me this morning, I'm gonna be over there tomorrow trimming,
Okay.
spraying trees back, so
Okay.
kind of makes it a two-lane road.
Yeah, because it goes back over there, homes and stuff, and it looks bad. Yeah.
Commissioners, we have one more question over here.
I'm there. Benny Murray. I'm not a resident of the town, but I do have property here. I renovated Dr. Warren's house, and I own the property right behind it. And one thing that I've observed tonight, that I had anything about changing the contract, any penalties when the contract's not being met. So could someone address that from a financial standpoint? Because I'm of the opinion, one thing will get people's attention as quick as anything, and that's finance. So are we at a point that even comes into play? And I think Mr. Best hit this dead on. I think there's got to be a partnership between the management of the town and EnviroLink. And I agree with him. It's not to beat up anybody, but it is to look at an effective way to ensure what contracts say are being upheld. And I'm not saying that's one person's responsibility, but and who manages that? And could someone elaborate on how that comes into play?
I don't know if we have time for that tonight, or if the attorney and Jay have everything they need. To answer that question.
And I'm not saying we need an answer tonight, but I do believe that's something that warrants looking into and figuring out how we can improve the partnership.
Stick with the carrot. Gotta have some stick with the carrot, right?
That's right.
Well, if nobody else has any more questions, I'm asking also the newspaper gets it right tonight. It is still light outside. If you'd like to go, look at the wastewater treatment plant, some of the grass around the water towers, pumping station, cemeteries. You got a good 30, 45 minutes, gentlemen.
I will be.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item I have on my agenda is the report from our police chief.
So, I'll be giving the report. We had the summary fourth meeting that was presented for the remainder of the month of June. June 19th, Officer Lenhart responded to the auction house on East Nash Street, reference to larceny having occurred throughout the night. At this time, there are no leads for larceny. Anyone who may have seen something suspicious or may Detective Bell, Spring Hill Police Department. On June 21st, Officer Radford Lenhart responded to 100 block of North Side Street in reference to a disturbance taking place outside. Upon arrival, they were met by several children along with the children's parents. 14-year-old male, and they both presented signs of having been assaulted by their mother. DSS was called and warrants were obtained against the mother. On June 23rd, Detective Bell and Nash County Sheriff's deputies were conducting a license checking station on South Walnut Street, near 2nd Street, when the vehicle came through, operated by Dylan Rouge of Spring Hope, who presented signs of alcohol impairment. Through investigation, Detective Bell, intoxicated, placed him under arrest. Rouge was charged with driving while impaired, possession of an open container of alcohol, and received a written promise to appear in court. June 26, Officer Gwaltney stopped the vehicle for speeding on West Nash Street. Upon the strong odor of marijuana was emitting from the vehicle, probable cause search of the vehicle was conducted, and marijuana was located in possession of the passenger. The driver was cited for speeding while was cited for possession of marijuana. Both subjects were released. June 26, while conducting a license checking station on South Walnut Street near 2nd Street, Officer Barber stopped the vehicle, turned around to avoid the checking station. The driver from Rocky Mount had a suspended license and several outstanding warrants for his arrest for multiple counties. The Nash County Jail on a $1,500 secured bond. Total calls for service were 134, 76 vehicle stops, 0 vehicle accidents, and 5 checkpoints.
Did you know if the larceny at an auction house was that breaking in, or was that getting into all the stuff that was accumulated behind the building?
I can answer that. It was actually a piece of equipment that it was not in the back where all of the items that they have. It was an equipment that was towards their back. It was sitting up towards their back door, and it was actually a very expensive piece of equipment that was stolen.
All right. I just wanted to break in and enter. But I guess larceny.
And I just wanted to say, I just have to let everybody know that these are the calls that I have got lately and the messages. And Chief knows some of them, but Officer Linhart has made such an amazing impression on the folks in this town. Just an amazing impression on the folks of this town.
For the manager. And also on my left with Commissioner Wilkins. Do you have anything else this evening?
I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Coon?
No, sir.
Commissioner Griffin?
No, sir.
Commissioner Lucas? Commissioner Tucker?
No.
I got all mine out earlier. There's no other business before this board. I'll expect a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. No more discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Thank you, Paul, for a second. For those of you that spoke about the town, I hope you see we're all actively working on this. It's not the worst meeting of our length, the worst meeting they've taken from us, but we are not slacking up. We will continue to do everything we can to make them improve. They've gone a little ways. They haven't gone far enough. I don't think in anybody's eyes yet. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming. We'd love to see turnouts like this. It helps us when we have to talk to them like that. So we appreciate everybody coming to kind of